James Harden is in Brooklyn. What's up, Felix? What's up, man? Talk to me. Talk to me.
Bro, I just wish this COVID thing wasn't in existence because the energy in Brooklyn right now by Barclays would be phenomenal, right? I feel like, I mean, like Kyrie not playing right now is a whole other topic, but Harden, bro, that's you could argue you got like the one and two best players in the league
But like,
on the
yo,
same team
think
in
look at
Brooklyn right
the
now.
timing. That's what's crazy to me is the timing of this right now because
Mm-hmm.
the whole Kyrie situation right now is just so like strange and up in the air. And like they've been in talks for Harden already, obviously, but after what happened last night, I think things just kind of kicked up and like Houston and Harden really pushed to get to get the deal done with one of these teams, right? So I actually saw someone say that Portland was on his list too, of like, it wasn't just Brooklyn and Philly. But those were the two most likely teams. I felt like Brooklyn was really ready to go all in, especially today because of what's happening with Kyrie. And like look at what you just got. So I'm seeing all the graphics of Kyrie, KD, Harden. We don't know what's going on with Kyrie yet.
We don't know that.
But he's on the team still. We know that. So we can talk about the three of them. But look, even if Kyrie's not on the team, look at what you just got. So now you're looking at talent-wise, you've got the two top players in the East on your team now. Period.
Yeah. And we've seen what a duo like that can do. Like you literally 1 and 2 in the league in scoring. You can say that, right? Durant he three-peated in scoring titles, right? And I think Harden damn near just did the same thing. And now they're on the same team, like at the peak of their power. Man, talk about duo dynamic.
Do you think Westbrook feels some type of way? Westbrook got to be in Washington. Westbrook got to be in Washington while Harden and KD team up again with Kyrie instead.
See, the thing is, Russ should be cooking with Beal. I don't know what's going on with that DC sauce down there, but I think the result is going to tell it all, right? Like if Harden and KD end up winning a chip in Brooklyn, I think then Russ is like, damn, couldn't do it with this dude after they traded Harden, and now Harden's with him and he did it. So I think that it's gonna heavily rely on the result.
Oh yeah, no, I agree. But this whole thing is ridiculous to me. The only thing I keep looking at like what they gave away, and
dude, this is KG, Paul Pierce, all over again. In terms of Brooklyn mortgaging their future, they're basically saying 3 to 5 year window. We're gonna try to win a chip, and then whatever happens after that happens.
Right. And it's like, because, I mean, not only do you give up some of the talent, but you give up 4 first-round picks. Brooklyn's was 3 first-round picks, and then the other one was a Milwaukee first-round pick, and then 4 pick swaps. I mean, if this doesn't come to fruition, like, I don't know what else Nets fans got to do.
The only thing against them to me right now is obviously like we could talk about Kyrie in a second. Like obviously you got to figure that out. But again, even without Kyrie, you're still probably the best team in the East. But the main thing against them, just like every team, the biggest challenge is the COVID stuff right now. This is a strange basketball season we're going through right now. So like anything is possible. Teams are sitting guys out. Like things are just weird. Like nothing is straightforward with the league right now. So even though this is still a blockbuster move, even though this is like we understand what this means, just the nature of the league right now doesn't make this like a guaranteed, oh yeah, they're the favorites to win. Like to me, ever since the bubble, like there's no such thing as a favorite anymore. Like you can say who the best team is on paper, the best team that looks the best to you, eyeball test or whatever. But I just think the playing field is way too level, just all the circumstances right now. So, but that being said, again, like you got James Harden and KD. Like I think whatever Harden, whatever issues Harden had before, like hooping wise, like it's crazy because I feel like KD kind of needs Harden right now because of what he's going through or not going through with Kyrie, whatever. Mm-hmm. And Harden as I've said before, like, I mean, it was getting pushed to this point. 8 years in Houston, I don't think it was a failure. Like, like we talked about Harden and this whole situation, like over the last couple months, but I just think he wanted to get back to where he started, which was playing with other guys on his level. He wasn't always just the one man band. He had good talent. He had good cast in Houston, but never like a super team, right? Never like 2-3 stars. Like he had, you know, he went through Dwight, Chris Paul, you know, Russell Westbrook, like, but never like a big three. Never had a big three in Houston, like he did in OKC where he started out. So now he's kind of getting back to that, just getting to play with KD. We'll figure out what Kyrie's doing soon, hopefully, but just getting back with KD puts him right back in the, okay, now I got somebody to really rock with, and like his style is gonna have to change too, but he's gonna he like it makes him that much more dangerous now, and he needs it at this point.
Harden's a hooper. I don't think it's going to take that much for him to adjust, especially when you got KD right there. You know what I'm saying? Like, that'll at least take some pressure off of him. Like, Harden was able to work with Chris Paul, granted, you know, 2 seasons and done there, but 2 ball handlers, they were able to figure it out. And I'll even one up you. I'll further echo your thoughts. You know, we kind of get into this weird space where if a player doesn't make the finals, you know, as the best player on a team, we kind of say like, you know, they can never be the best player on a championship team. And I don't think that's necessarily the case with Harden, right? They had to go through a historic moment, you know, missing 26 threes in a row, you know, that year of playing against Golden State, you know, to lose that game 7. But you know, one thing for me about Brooklyn, you know, with the Kyrie thing aside, as you said, you know, one of the biggest challenges for them so far this season was defense. And you know, really they only got back Harden, so I'm not too sure they really addressed that with the trade, you know, but the trade-off is having super explosive offensive talent. So if games are going to be, you know, 140 to 135 for the rest of the season, then so be it, because if that brings you a chip, I'm sure they'll be satisfied.
Yeah, no, and that's honestly one of the things I've been harping on the Atlantic Files is that Brooklyn was not built this year before Harden to defend people. Brooklyn was built to outscore people. So now you bring in Harden and you lose someone like Jared Allen, who is probably your best defender. You're even more so built to just purely outscore people instead of actually stop people like when it matters most, because they also got rid of Taurean Prince, who was also a decent
that's
defender.
huge. That's huge.
You lose him. Obviously you lose LeVert as well. You lose Kurucs, who, I mean, that one isn't as big of
the tweener.
Yeah,
but he could shoot, you know.
Right. So, and all of this to say as well, like you guys were saying, we don't know when Kyrie's coming back. And the other thing is Dinwiddie's out for the rest of the year. Like if Dinwiddie was there would be like no doubt in my mind that this team's offense would be on a historic level, because even if Kyrie doesn't come back for a while, or if he is there and you have Dinwiddie leading the bench squad, that's humongous. But the other thing is like you guys are saying, Harden changing his style of play. I think it's going to be a bigger change once Kyrie does come back, rather than just playing with Kevin Durant, because Durant, I mean, he can be spot up, he can be like off the dribble anywhere you really need him to be. But as far as him and Kyrie goes, like Kyrie's not the biggest spot up guy. Like he can do it, but he's not the biggest spot up guy. So I'm kind of curious how Kyrie adjusts as well as Harden adjusts.
Yeah,
I think.
I see a lot of people talking about that. Like, you know, did Kyrie sign with Brooklyn to be the third option and all that stuff? I think Kyrie's stuff is gonna have more to do with like what he's going through with all this, with him not playing right now, than like meshing with James Harden and KD. Like, but I do think that is an adjustment for someone like him, because even playing with KD, you saw like how, I mean, Kyrie is a naturally aggressive offensive force. That's what he should be. Like he score. The best thing he does is score, you know, like that's like really his true gift. So and he has a lot of creative ways to do that. But like ultimately, it's like it leads to scoring. Like that's really his gift. So like to ask him to like not do that is counterproductive. So he's got even as a point guard, like sometimes he's got to dribble the ball up and just go, because every time he dribbles the ball up and he sees who's guarding, it's like, yo, like I can score anytime. I can hit this guy. I could just shoot it and pull up and right here. Like I could hit this guy. Like, yo, come set a screen if you want, but I don't really need it. If like, you know what I mean? Like I'll just like, it's a 24-second shot clock too. So by the time he gets over, it's like 18, 17. It's like, all right, man, let me just go. Like I don't really need to play. Let me just, right. So we know KD can play that way, but to your point, Fish, he's willing to play more kind of like system basketball, like what he did in Golden State. Like he'll get his numbers, but in an efficient way. He's not gonna force the issue. He'll play within and just get his 30 like real calm.
Right.
Harden, again, we saw him when he started out in OKC. Like he was getting his. I mean, he was also a sixth man, and in Houston he kind of ascended. So like, all I'm saying is that like the adjustment exists. At the same time, I mean, I think the biggest adjustment is definitely for Kyrie, but I just feel that, I don't know, Kyrie's going to be really weird, where I don't know what his whole mindset is right now, because if he was just playing basketball and he was just, you know, on the floor, I would say this team is probably going to win the whole thing.
Right.
If we're talking about just Harden and KD, though, again, I still think that they're probably going to win the East. If they're both healthy, like the two of them, like I like defense, I get it, you know, all that, I get it. But, you know, like I just feel like I think Milwaukee is not built to take them on. Philly won't be built to take them on anymore. And Miami might end up being that only team that has like everything you need, like shooting, youth, defense, depth, like inside play, like all the things you actually need as a team to beat Brooklyn, who just has the two best players. Like it's not going to be about system or defense or anything. James Harden and Kevin Durant alone, healthy, are going to get them to the finals. Like when they're that good, that's what it comes down to for me.
It's interesting to just look at this thing in two completely like just different parallels, because there's the team we're talking about now with just, you know, Harden and KD, and then there's the version where Kyrie comes back. Like Kyrie was already averaging more shot attempts, you know, per game than KD was. So now you add Harden, who's, you know, been averaging by far the most shot attempts on his teams for the past couple of years, and it's just like, where does Kyrie fit in? When we look at his time with the Cavs, his best role was, you know, with LeBron playing point forward and Kyrie basically playing two guard, right? Getting the ball, dancing, doing his thing, you know, finding people when they're open, but he's never a super high assist guy. So it'll just be interesting to see. And I really do want to see what KD's role is moving forward, because as you said, he's had the role in OKC where he's supposed to be the best player, you know, taking that final shot, you know, bringing the ball up and creating. And then he's also had that role in Golden State where he had others to create. He could spot up, he could create, he could slash and kind of do everything. So he's, to me, the most versatile player on the team. So it'll be interesting to see how Nash kind of envisions that offense looking.
We probably never seen like a combination like this too, like in terms of like a talent like Kyrie at point guard. You're bringing in a talent like James Harden, who's also a lead guard, and you have KD, who's top two players in the world. Like this combination of talent, just from guard to wing. Like we probably never seen that kind of combination thrown together before.
When the on-ball defender gets beaten off the dribble, what are you gonna do? Hey, you have three elite ball handlers, and we've seen the trend with like all the past couple of champions. They've had more at minimum two ball handlers that can create on the court at the same time, and that's what made Golden State so great, is not only the shooting but the creation, you know, around the perimeter. Now you got three guys at the peak of their powers at this. Like, what are you gonna do?
And even to go off of that, you also have Joe Harris, who one of the best shooters in the league.
At least you still got Joe Harris.
Yeah.
Percentage-wise, I think he might be like number one over the past couple of years.
Yeah, exactly. And then on top, so like really on top of that, you would have to bring your big man off of DeAndre Jordan, who can always finish lobs. But I mean, at that point, there's not many big men that are even going to matter when it comes to contesting either one of those three guys either.
Yeah. Like the ceiling for this obviously like depends on this Kyrie situation.
Yeah.
And you're right, Felix. It's really like looking at it in two. It's like you're looking at the ceiling in two different ways because you just don't know what's gonna happen with Kyrie. But I will like again. I just think when you give especially James Harden because he hasn't won yet. KD's been
hungry.
winning. He you know like when you give him that chance to really hoop, like if it's all three of them. All you have to do is move the ball. Like literally all you have to just achieve is consistent ball movement and you'll be the team that you need to be. Like it usually, it takes time. It took Miami time. It took it takes teams time, but bro, ain't nobody seen nothing like this before.
And one aspect we haven't even brought up is what's likely going to happen is you're going to have to deal with at least one of these three people on the floor at all times. Like I see rare occasions where all three of them are on the bench and they're all deadly.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think that me personally, I'm just curious to see what the offensive system is going to look like, just because like we know Kyrie's not the big assist man. Harden has averaged like 10 assists, but it's a lot of him dribbling like till the clock goes down and then finding the open man at the last second for a shot. But like you're not going to limit KD and Kyrie to just sit on the perimeter or watch Harden dribble all the time and then get them for an assist all the time. Like that's not going to be the case the whole time that they're all on the floor.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see like what that game plan is. And it's also to me interesting because you have all of this going to Steve Nash, who's a coach for the first time. Like it's not like they're all going to like Popovich or, somebody that has been around for a long time to have a whole lot of systems like in their head. Almost
Isn't D'Antoni on the bench?
He is.
What was that?
Isn't D'Antoni on the bench?
Yes, he is.
So, I mean, I think that's a good combination. You got D'Antoni, who's run the system with Steve Nash at point guard and James Harden at point guard. And then you have Steve Nash himself, who was on the court running that system. So I think it should be somewhat simple to implement ball movement. I think we're going to see a lot of heavy pick and roll with James Harden at the top. But I think, what we've seen over the past couple of years in Houston with like the 13 dribbles and pull up, that's probably going to stop or at least slow down.
Yeah. It's just like, I feel like it's mainly like the pace of things. I mean, when you have that much talent, that much scoring ability, you can play fast, you can play slow. Like that's the luxury. But I think that's going to be more of the emphasis is like the pace. Of course, you can run 2-man game with Harden and KD until the clock runs out, and that'll get you good looks all game probably. But I think it's just such an unprecedented situation and roster and combination of talent that when you talk about system, again you can go to different looks and different, but it's very. I mean, I know Kyrie got a lot of heat for like the way he talked about like their system and like their coaching and not needing a coach and all that before the season. But I actually felt like that was kind of consistent even with what Steve Nash with how Steve Nash was saying he wanted them to play, which was just very free flowing and just feeling like they can just hoop. Basically, he didn't say it like that. I'm paraphrasing, but like it seemed like that's kind of what he wanted to go for, just knowing that he had the kind of talent that he had just in Kyrie and KD. So, I mean, the system is definitely going to be important. The way they play is going to be important. But it's like, dude, when you have like Harden and KD, it's like the system is score. Like the play is like go score. Like, I mean, that's going to be really interesting. Hard to stop.
Going based off of that, though, do you buy into any of those rumors that Kyrie was saying that like he was upset because he didn't want Steve Nash as the coach, and then the other thing was like his
Yeah.
relationship with Durant is distant?
I don't know. It's hard to know. Like, the Durant thing might be there might be something to that in terms of, who knows, maybe they just haven't talked in a while. Like, maybe it's just stemmed from that, and that turned into that kind of thing, and that could be possible, since he's kind of off the grid, as they're saying.
Right.
Or maybe because of that there is, distant like that, that's kind of gray area. I feel like the Steve Nash thing, I think there might be some to that, because there's been information out there about Kyrie wanting different people for that job. Like, it wasn't like really public or anything in terms of him vouching for certain people, but I know like Phil Handy, he was high on. I think a couple other people were put out there, just that he might have liked for them to consider, possibly. So there might be some merit there, but again, I don't think there's like I feel like that's even probably overblown.
The timing of the narrative just seems super convenient to me. Like, why did we not hear about this before he disappeared? Or why did we not hear about this? Because they haven't gotten out to like a super crazy start. They were like 2-3-0, and then they kind of hovered around 500 for a little bit there, while KD was out due to health and safety protocols. But like, why didn't that come out then? Like, I'm not sure if like maybe someone was holding on to that information and then put it out there. As Martin said, there may be things, where there's smoke, there might be fire. Some things might have been floating around. But very convenient for that to come out now.
Oh yeah. I mean, it definitely felt like something that maybe someone from like Houston might have put out to try and get them to trade Kyrie. Or something to that effect, because they did say everyone except Kevin Durant was on the table.
Right.
So,
right. And I was even curious, like, was that going to open the floodgates for them in a bit? Like, I didn't think they would just do Kyrie like that outright, but you just never know. You never know. I was just really curious and waiting to see, like, all right, is his name going to come up in this? Because I mean, it's just a lot of awkward stuff happening, and people are accusing him of throwing KD under the rug and all that. But I'm glad it didn't go down like that. I'm glad it didn't have to. But I knew they were ready to go all in on this, just given the situation right now.
Right. No, yeah, I agree. And on the flip side of things, I just wanted to touch on it real quick. I think Houston should have kept Caris LeVert instead of trading him to Indiana.
Agreed.
Yeah, I honestly like both players for them. I like either pickup for them, but I would have kept LeVert. I would have rather have had LeVert.
I think LeVert is a better fit next to John Wall than Depot is.
I agree. And
not because of ability either, but just because of style of play. Go ahead, Fisch.
Right. No, I completely agree with that. And on top of it, LeVert's younger. I mean, he hasn't personally. I don't think he's hit his ceiling yet. Like, I still think there's a lot to unlock with LeVert. But now that the Pacers have him, I really like the thought of Brogdon, LeVert, and Sabonis all together.
Yeah, and they already had they were looking good already. They just that was a nice move for them too.
So Milwaukee got to be kicking themselves, man. That Brogdon to Indy thing was, man.
Yep. I mean, that not getting Bogdanovich. I mean, you could say a whole host of things for Milwaukee that didn't fall the right way for him.
Yeah. Except they kept Giannis, but I think he did that out of pity at this point.
So to be clear, give me your ceilings for Brooklyn with the roster as currently constructed. Ceiling with Kyrie, ceiling without Kyrie.
My ceiling for them, with either way, with or without Kyrie, is NBA title. Like
this
that's
year.
their potential ceiling. Yeah, this year.
My ceiling with Kyrie would be championship. My ceiling without Kyrie would be losing in the finals.
Yeah, I agree with Fish.
I don't think
I feel like Kyrie's so important to what they're going to try to eventually do.
right, and I don't think this team without Kyrie beats a team like the Lakers. I just don't think that happens.
I think they could. I just think Kevin Durant can.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know if it's just what I've seen like like from last night or whatever, but I just like when it comes to LeBron, because like it takes like look at what it's taken to actually beat LeBron in history, and it like Kevin Durant's one of the only forces in the galaxy that can actually take down LeBron. You know, just
I agree.
head. So I feel like, yeah, I mean, the biggest like, of course, LeBron's got the big horse. He's got the elephant in the room. He's got the big. So like, KD, like that would make that very interesting because KD's got the elite guard and LeBron's got the big man.
Right.
But it's weird because KD is like both, and LeBron's both too. But again, like you look at KD and LeBron, and you look at when they matched up when he was in Golden State, like the I want to see them play again because shooting wise, LeBron's better now. And I think that's the main thing that he's been waiting to really like kind of get back at KD for, because KD hit a shot on him
over him,
an NBA Finals history shot, like a KD shot, like a pull up in your, like the kind of shot that we always like in LeBron's face in the final. Like that was just a moment because it was a jump shot,
poetry,
like, contested jump shot on you. Like again, he's one of the only people that could do that to LeBron. So like, I just think LeBron, and I talk about shooting because I just feel like that's the one area that KD has flat out had LeBron on, and to some it's helped, it makes him a better player than LeBron. But you know, I feel like that matchup it can get interesting if it happens again.
True. I think, see, my only thing is the big ifs are going to be, can Harden perform in the playoffs? Because we've seen him come up short a lot in the playoffs. Can like he gel with Kyrie and Kevin Durant, like we said? And can they all take down like an experienced team like the Lakers or like even the Clippers, the Nuggets, like all of those kinds of teams? Because I mean, we've seen Harden come to the East now because he couldn't do that with the Rockets. I mean, regarding they did have to face the Golden State Warriors and everything, but like KD is the least of my worries of will he be good enough? Like, since I've seen, the only question I had about KD was what he's going to look like post Achilles injury. I've seen him now. Yeah, he's good. Right. like KD's fine.
Yeah. Right.
But now it's just, I think the two people that have the most to prove now are Harden and Kyrie, because Kyrie's only ring came with LeBron. So, I mean, that's right there, one of the best, if not the best player to ever play. Then ever since then, he's just been injured a lot, missed a lot of games, hasn't really performed to what people expected him to perform to. The narrative around Harden, again, is just not showing up in the playoffs and everything. So it's a lot on those two to prove what they have to prove. And
I think that's I just feel like that's a scary factor when they feel like because I do feel like James Harden, like, not that he feels like he has something to prove, even though he does, but I think he has a chip on his shoulder almost to be like, all right, now I have like someone to pass to, like really, not just for a lob. Like, again, it's just
not just for a corner three
or a lob, like where I have to like just do it myself and type like. Now, you know, I do agree with you, but like, I guess my belief is that Harden can play that style, because he's kind of done it before, where he was more of like not a reserve, but just kind of playing more to the flow of the game, like getting people involved, just playing more as like a kind of more as a natural point guard, but then scoring when he gets his opportunities. I just think the game's going to be so much easier for him playing with KD. Like, imagine how much more fun he's going to have. Start with that. And when you give a great player a reason to have more fun, that's scary. Like, that can be scary.